When everyone saw the truth about my perfect stepsister on that projector screen, the entire auditorium went silent. Like you could hear people breathing. Some gasped. Some covered their mouths. And my stepsister? She just stood there frozen as her entire fake image crumbled in front of hundreds of people. She had humiliated me for months. Made me feel worthless. Invisible. Like I was nothing compared to her. But this time my revenge changed everything. And honestly, I still don't know if what I did was right. But I know it was fair. My name is Riley. I'm 17. And 2 years ago my life completely changed when my mom remarried. Her new husband David seemed nice enough. Successful. Kind. But he came with a daughter. Laura. And from the moment I met her, I knew things were going to be complicated. Laura was everything I wasn't. She was confident, beautiful, popular. She had this effortless way of commanding attention whenever she walked into a room. She was a straight-A student. Captain of the debate team. She had thousands of followers on Instagram. Everyone loved her. And I mean everyone. When our parents got married, Laura moved into our house. We had to share everything. Space. Family. At first I tried to be nice. I wanted us to be friends. I thought maybe having a sister would be cool. But Laura had other plans. She was sweet in front of our parents. Always smiling. Always helpful. Always the perfect daughter. But when they weren't looking, she made sure I knew exactly where I stood. Below her. Always below her. It started small. Little comments that seemed harmless but cut deep. Like when my mom's friend complimented my outfit, Laura would smile and say, "Yeah, Riley's still figuring out her style. I'm trying to help her." Or when I got AB on a test, she'd say in front of everyone, "Don't worry, not everyone's naturally academic." She said everything with this sweet tone like she was being helpful. But it was humiliating. And the worst part? No one else seemed to notice. They all thought Laura was this angelic big sister trying to guide her awkward younger stepsister. But I knew the truth. She enjoyed it. She enjoyed making me feel small. The first time Laura really humiliated me was during a group project in history class. We were assigned to the same group and she immediately took charge. She was fine. I didn't mind. She was good at that stuff. We were supposed to present our project on the civil rights movement. Laura volunteered me to do the opening presentation. "Riley's great at public speaking," she told the group. Which was a lie. I hated public speaking. But I didn't want to seem difficult, so I agreed. The night before, Laura offered to help me with my notes. She said she'd organize them so they'd be easier to read. I was grateful. I thought maybe she was actually being nice for once. But when I stood up in front of the class the next day and started reading from the notes she'd given me, I realized something was very, very wrong. The information was completely incorrect. Dates were mixed up. Names were wrong. I sounded like I hadn't studied at all. People started whispering. The teacher looked confused. And I just stood there, my face burning, trying to recover. But I couldn't. I bombed the presentation. Completely. Laura stood up after me and smoothly corrected everything I'd said. She made it look effortless. Like she was saving the project from my incompetence. The teacher praised her. The group thanked her. And I just sat there humiliated. After class, someone had recorded part of my disaster and posted it in the school group chat. The comments were brutal. How did she mess that up so bad? Laura really carried that group. Riley needs to study more. I confronted Laura in the hallway. "You gave me the wrong notes on purpose." She tilted her head, looking genuinely confused. "What? No, I didn't. Riley, maybe you just misread them. It's okay. Don't be so hard on yourself." And then she walked away, leaving me standing there feeling crazy. That night at dinner, my mom asked how the presentation went. Laura jumped in before I could answer. "Riley did her best. Public speaking isn't for everyone." My stepdad nodded sympathetically. And I just sat there silent, knowing no one would believe me if I told the truth. After that, the humiliations kept coming. And they were always so subtle that I couldn't call her out without looking paranoid or dramatic. At a family dinner with relatives, I mispronounced a word. Laura sweetly corrected me in front of everyone. "It's pronounced this way, Riley. It's okay, not everyone reads as much." Everyone laughed. I wanted to disappear. She, accidentally, posted a photo on her Instagram story showing my messy room in the background. The caption was something like, "Candid sister moment." But all anyone noticed was how disorganized my space looked compared to hers. Comments flooded in. "How do you live like that? Laura is so neat, Riley should learn from her." She'd tell our parents' friends that I struggled with social situations and needed encouragement, which made me look like I had some kind of problem, when really I was just quiet. There's a difference. And she always did it with a smile. With this tone that made her sound concerned and caring. So when I tried to tell my mom that Laura was being mean, my mom would say, "She's just trying to help you, Riley. Don't be so sensitive." I started second-guessing everything. My clothes. My words. My hobbies. I felt like I was constantly under a microscope waiting for Laura to point out my next flaw. And the worst part? I started believing her. I started thinking maybe I really was awkward. Maybe I really was less than her. Maybe I deserved to be invisible. I stopped hanging out with my friends as much. I stopped participating in class. I just wanted to blend into the background and avoid giving Laura more ammunition. But even that wasn't enough. Because Laura didn't just want me to be quiet. She wanted me to be her content. Her proof that she was better. The breaking point came at our parents' anniversary party. It was a big deal. Fancy venue. Lots of guests. Extended family. My mom had asked me to prepare a short speech welcoming everyone and talking about how happy I was that our families were blending together. I worked on that speech for weeks. I wanted it to be perfect. I wanted to show everyone, especially Laura, that I wasn't just the awkward stepsister. That I had something valuable to say. The night before the party, Laura asked to see my speech. Just to give you some feedback, she said. I hesitated, but she insisted it was to help. So I showed her. She made a few suggestions, printed out a revised copy and handed it to me. This will be so much better. Trust me. The next day I stood up in front of everyone. My hands were shaking. I started reading the speech. And within the first few sentences I realized something was horribly wrong. It wasn't my speech. It was a joke. A childish, ridiculous joke script about blended families that made me sound like a comedian doing a bad stand-up routine. People started laughing. At first I thought maybe it was just friendly laughter. But then I saw their faces. They thought I was trying to be funny. They thought this was intentional. My mom looked confused. My stepdad looked embarrassed. And Laura? He was smiling. That same sweet, innocent smile. I stopped reading. My voice cracked. I mumbled something about being nervous and sat down. I could feel everyone's eyes on me. Pitying me. Judging me. Laura stood up immediately. I'll say a few words, she announced confidently. And she delivered this beautiful, heartfelt speech about family and love and gratitude. Everyone clapped. Everyone hugged her. And I just sat there, tears streaming down my face, feeling smaller than I'd ever felt in my life. Later, when we were alone, Laura leaned in and whispered, "See? People only like you when you're funny by accident. You should stick to what you're good at, being forgettable." That night, I cried until I couldn't breathe. I felt broken. Worthless. Like no matter what I did, I would always be the punchline. But somewhere in that pain, something shifted. I wasn't going to let her do this to me anymore. I wasn't going to be her victim. Not anymore. A few days later, Laura left her tablet on the kitchen counter. She'd gone upstairs to shower and it was just sitting there, unlocked. I know I shouldn't have looked. But I did. And what I found changed everything. Laura wasn't perfect. Not even close. She was paying someone to write her essays. I found Venmo transactions and message threads with a college student who was doing her assignments for her. The same assignments that had earned her academic awards and scholarship offers. Her Instagram. Completely fake. She had an entire folder of edited photos. Different lighting. Smooth skin. Altered body proportions. The perfect life she posted online was a carefully constructed lie. But the worst part? I found messages. Group chats where she talked about people behind their backs. Friends she pretended to love but actually made fun of. And there were messages about me. Dozens of them. She called me her content. She bragged to her friends about how easy it was to humiliate me. She laughed about the speech incident. She said I made her look better just by existing. One message stood out. Honestly, having Riley around is the best thing that happened to me. She makes me look amazing without even trying. I felt sick. But I also felt something else. Clarity. I finally understood. Laura wasn't better than me. She was just better at pretending. And if people knew the truth, they'd see her the way I did. I could have confronted her right then. But I knew she'd just deny it. Twist it. Make me look like the jealous stepsister. So I decided to do something smarter. Something she couldn't talk her way out of. I decided to let her expose herself. 2 weeks later, our school was hosting a truth and talent showcase. It was this big event where students could present anything. Art, music, speeches, videos. Laura had signed up to show an inspirational video she'd made about her journey to success. She'd been promoting it for weeks. Everyone was excited to see it. I knew this was my moment. Laura had saved her video on a USB drive. The night before the showcase, she left it on her desk. I copied the file, edited my own version and replaced it with a new USB that looked identical. My version wasn't cruel. I didn't add mean commentary or insults. I didn't manipulate anything. I just compiled the truth. Screenshots of her paying for essays. Side-by-side comparisons of her real photos versus edited ones. The messages where she bullied people anonymously. The texts where she bragged about humiliating me. Audio clips of her laughing about making me feel worthless. I titled it simply, The Real Laura. The night of the showcase, I sat in the back of the auditorium. My heart was pounding. I felt like I might throw up. But I didn't stop it. I let it happen. When Laura walked on stage, she looked confident. Radiant. She smiled at the crowd, said a few words about authenticity and hard work and then pressed play. For the first few seconds nothing seemed wrong. But then the video started. And the entire room went silent. People's faces changed. Confusion. Disbelief. Laura's smile faltered. She turned to look at the screen. And then she froze. Her secrets were playing for everyone to see. Her fake achievements. Her cruel messages. Her lies. All of it. Right there. Undeniable. Someone gasped. Someone else whispered, "Oh my God." Teachers stood up. Lara tried to stop the video, but it was too late. Everyone had seen enough. She looked out into the crowd, her face pale, her hands shaking. And for the first time since I'd known her, Lara looked small. The fallout was immediate. Teachers pulled Lara aside for questioning. The school launched an investigation into the academic dishonesty. Her friends confronted her. Some defended her at first, but the evidence was impossible to ignore. Slowly, people started distancing themselves. Her Instagram comments filled with criticism. I can't believe she was fake this whole time. She bullied people and acted innocent. Riley didn't deserve what she did to her. For once, people were seeing the truth. At home, my mom and stepdad were devastated. They couldn't believe the daughter they'd praised for years had been lying and hurting people. My stepdad looked at me with guilt in his eyes. Riley, I'm so sorry. I should have listened to you. Lara avoided me for days. But eventually she cornered me in my room. Her eyes were red from crying. You ruined my life, she said, her voice shaking. I looked at her calmly. I didn't ruin your life, Lara. I just showed people who you really are. Everything in that video was true. You said those things. You did those things. I didn't make any of it up. You had no right. You had no right to humiliate me over and over again, I interrupted. You made me feel worthless. You turned me into a joke. And you enjoyed it. So don't stand there and act like I'm the villain. I only showed the truth. She stared at me, tears streaming down her face. And then she left. We didn't speak for weeks. Months passed. Lara switched schools. She couldn't handle being at the same place where everyone knew what she'd done. My mom was heartbroken. She tried to keep the family together, but things were different now. Tense. Uncomfortable. I didn't feel victorious. I felt empty. Like I'd won, but at a cost I hadn't fully considered. Yes, Lara had been exposed. Yes, people finally believed me. But I also knew I'd humiliated her the same way she'd humiliated me. And that weighed on me. One night, about 6 months later, Lara called me. I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. Riley, she said quietly. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. But I need you to know. I'm sorry. For everything. I was so insecure about you. About how effortlessly kind you were. How real you were. And I hated that I had to fake everything just to feel good enough. So I tore you down to make myself feel better. And that was wrong. Really, really wrong. I didn't say anything at first. I just listened. I'm in therapy now, she continued, trying to figure out why I did what I did. And I know it doesn't erase anything. But I wanted you to know that you didn't deserve any of it. You never did. I took a deep breath. Thank you for saying that. Do you think we'll ever be okay? She asked. I don't know, I said honestly. Maybe. Someday. But not right now. I need time. I understand, she whispered. And then she hung up. I don't know if Lara and I will ever have a real relationship. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. But I learned something important through all of this. I learned that I'm not defined by how people treat me. I'm not the worthless, awkward girl Lara tried to make me believe I was. I'm strong. I'm brave. And I'm enough. With or without her approval. Was my revenge perfect? No. Was it controversial? Absolutely. But was it fair? Think so. Because sometimes, the only way to stop someone from hurting you is to show the world exactly who they are. And let the truth speak for itself. If you've ever been humiliated by someone who pretended to care about you, I see you. And I want you to know that you don't have to stay silent. You don't have to be the victim forever. Standing up for yourself doesn't make you the bad guy. Sometimes the most powerful revenge is just the truth. So here's my question for you. If someone humiliated you the way Lara humiliated me, would you have done the same thing? Or would you have walked away? Let me know in the comments. Because honestly, I'm still figuring out if I made the right choice.